Thank you, Nirav. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I would like to begin with a few comments on our Q1 operating environment. Starting with demand, pharma markets saw negative growth during Q1 2021 as compared to strong growth rates in Q4 of last fiscal year. In India, the overall market declined by 6% in Q1 as compared to a growth of 9.8% in Q4 of last year. However, inside this 6% decline, there are two trends that give us reasons for optimism. Firstly, the chronic markets did much better. The Indian chronic market had a growth rate of 4%, while the subchronic segment declined by 8% and the acute market declined by 12%. Secondly, while April and May were strongly negative, June saw a turnaround as compared to April and May. Growth rates in June was 2.4%, while April had a negative growth rate of 10.9% and May was also negative at 8.8%. We can report similar trends from Brazil. IQVIA data shows that branded generic market in Brazil grew by only 1% from April to June quarter as compared to 14.7% during Jan to March. It is worth noting that year-on-year growth rate in June was a positive 8.8%. We operate only in the chronic CNS, cardio and diabetes space, and this market grew in Q1 at 6.7% as compared to the overall market growth rate of 1%. Moving on to the supply side, while our supply chain has worked better than we had originally anticipated, the overall environment remains unpredictable. Since the lifting of the national lockdown in India, the number of COVID cases has gone up. As a result, state and local authorities have mandated local lockdowns, including in towns where our facilities are located. This has a direct impact on our production. Freight and other costs continue to remain at an unusually high level. Let's move on to the highlights of Torrent's Q1 performance. Q1 revenues were at 2,056 crores, up by 2% on a year-on-year basis. EBITDA stood at 664 crores, up by 19% on a year-on-year basis. EBITDA margins were at 32%. Margins were higher as lockdowns resulted in lower expenses. I'll make some comments on our major markets. India revenues were at 925 crores and grew by 2%. During Q1, patient footfall was significantly impacted. Around 85% of our reps are now currently working in the field. As per AOICD data set, Torrent's Q1 2021 growth rate was 1% as compared to an IPM growth of -6%. As noted earlier, the chronic market grew at 4% and Torrent's chronic portfolio grew at 8%. Moreover, IPM subchronic growth was -8%, whereas Torrent subchronic was at 0%. Our focus on brand building in the chronic and subchronic space continues to yield positive outcomes. Torrent is ranked number 7 as per AOICD quarter June 20 data set, whereas our ranking on specialty RX basis stands at 6th as per the SMSRC data set. On brand building front, Torrent has 16 brands in the top 500 brands of IPM, with 10 brands of more than rupees 100 crores. During the current quarter, Nebicard has crossed 150 crore mark as per AOICD MAT June 20. Our new launches in CVD continue to gain volume momentum every month, even in the current difficult environment. On the productivity front, our PCPM currently stands at 7.7 lakhs as against 7.2 lakhs for Q1 of 1920. Commenting on the US, our US sales in Q1 were 47.4 million as compared to 51.4 million in Q1 of last year. For Indrad and Dahej plants, we have completed all the CAPAs and have submitted the closure report to the FDA. We await the FDA's communications on the next steps. Recently, we have also received our first approval of a product from external collaboration, which is erythromycin IR tablets. As per IQVIA, it is a $60 million market. We expect 1 to 2 additional approvals in the current fiscal year from external collaboration projects. Our German Q1 sales were euros 29.3 million as compared to 33.1 million in Q1 of last year. However, we are encouraged by the positive quarter-on-quarter sales as our Q4 1920 sales were 26.7 million euros. We are well on the way to resolving issues with the quality control procedures in Germany. At June end, 85% of the product issues have been resolved, and we are on track for 97% resolution by September end. Brazil sales were realized 96.4 million, up by 1% on a year-on-year basis. IQVIA data shows that in Q1, Torrent had a growth rate of 10.5%, much higher than the overall market rates. One of the core reasons is that we operate only in the chronic space, which has grown much faster than the overall market. There were also some supply shortages which negatively impacted our primary sales. The weakening of the Brazilian real resulted in our Q1 growth rate in INR to be negative 20%. Despite this short-term turbulence, we continue to believe that Brazil's structural story remains intact. We are optimistic about future reforms that are intending to increase overall competitiveness and reducing red tape. IMS now expects the Brazilian pharma market to grow in 2020 at the rate of 4.1%, in line with a mid-impact scenario, as compared to a pre-COVID projection of 10.4% and a projection in March of only 1.9%. Torrent expects to launch 3 new products before the end of the current fiscal year, which will provide us with additional growth momentum, and we feel confident that we will be growing at rates higher than the market. Here we can now open the call to questions.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, you may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Request to all the participants, please restrict to 2 questions per participant. If time permits, please come back in the question queue for a follow-up question. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Anyone who wishes to ask the question, you may press star and 1. First question is from the line of Vishal from Aviva Insurance. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So my first question is on the overhead expenses. There has been a substantial reduction that we saw for this quarter. So what proportion of this is sustainable? Because this quarter we saw, there was no travel, there were no, very less overhead. So once things normalize, how would this pan out?
No, I think we'll have to wait for one more quarter before we answer this question. So you are right. The expenses are lower because of the lockdown situation which happened, right, in quarter 1. So whether this kind of a substantial saving would continue in quarter 2, I really doubt about it. So it's better to wait for one more quarter to see what levels we are reaching, because I think there has been a substantial improvement in terms of the field working, the hospital working and the doctor working. So I would not like to give you any guidance, but it's better to wait for one more quarter and see what levels we are achieving.
Okay. And so what would have been the key driving factors for the US business? Because clearly for $47 million has been a relatively good number at a time when new launches have not been there. So have you been able to scale up those sartans in the US, or is it something else that is driving? Could you elaborate a bit on this?
So in the US market, overall the generic market was negative 6% in Q1. So this doesn't surprise any one of us because of the low patient footfall and the high number of COVID cases. And we continue on the negative side. We continue to face price declines. We have no new approvals from Indrad in the age. But on the positive side, we are fairly competitive in the products where we play. And we've been able to grow volumes and shares with our, existing basket of products. So I would say that to some extent the positive and negative factors balance each other out for the time being.
Okay. Last question on Germany, where you said the 97% of the issues should be resolved by September. So once things get back to normal, what would be the kind of growth that you foresee for the European market or FY21?
So historically, Torrent has been growing almost double-digit every year in Germany. So I would expect us to return to that trend sometime before the end of the year. So for the current year, it would be slightly lower, given that we'll only reach our normalized growth by the end of Q2. So high single digits or close to double digits should be I would say a reasonable expectation for this year. And this is, of course, subject to the caveat that we aim to reach 97% of the problem resolution by September, and we are on track to do so.
Thank you very much. Congratulations on a good set of numbers. I'll come back to the queue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next participant is Prakash Agarwal from Axis Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Thanks for the opportunity. Just wanted to understand the gross margin improvement. I understand, the mix has not changed too much, right? So India business YOY is fairly flat, which is good in this environment. US is down, and so is your, Brazil, which is a higher gross margin business. So what has really moved in terms of gross margin?
No, Prakash, what you said is absolutely right from an overall perspective. But as Sanjay did mention that the chronic businesses have done well for Torrent in the branded generic space, and that would be one cause of a product mix change within the portfolio, which has aided better gross margins this quarter.
Okay, and so I'm just trying to understand, for the continuity part of it, so would this be sustainable, or with your activities, which you said that has picked up, the mix would change a bit?
No, I got it. So I think last year, if you remember, we had given a guidance that, between 72 to 73 is something which is sustainable, is what we feel, right? And for the last 4 quarters, if you see that we've been between 72 to 73. And this the guidance which I would continue giving, that, the right number is anything between 72 to 73.
Okay, perfect. That helps. And secondly, on US FDA, I missed. So, what is our, expectation in terms of, reviving or getting approval from Levittown, Dahej, and the other one?
So Levittown is relatively straightforward because we would complete the remediation and start production in Q3. We just need to inform the FDA. And at some point, the FDA will come and inspect us and then start approving new products. But for existing portfolio of projects, we will start manufacturing sometime in Q3. For Indrad and Dahej, there is actually no precedent, right, to these COVID times. So we don't know how it will pan out. So what Torrent has done is that it has completed its closure report. So we have completed all the CAPAs and we submitted the closure report. And what we do is we have asked for something which is called a record review. So which is basically like a desktop audit. But we are just waiting for the FDA's feedback on this topic, right? So hence, as Torrent, it's best that we are in no position to give any guidance as to when this inspection or record review will happen, and when will we start getting FDA approvals, because we don't have any information on this topic.
Okay, understood. But this Levittown, you are saying that you are expected to see inspection in Q3 and resolve it? This would also be under the this warning letter route, right? So do you have visibility to resolve and start commercializing from Q3, Q4?
So Levittown is slightly different because we are not manufacturing any products, right? So you'll recall that from Indrad and Dahej, we are currently continue to commercialize our existing approved products. So what I was telling you was that from sometime in Q3, we will begin commercializing our existing approved products from Levittown. So in other words, it will come on par with Indrad and Dahej.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, thanks. I have no question. I'll join back with you.
Thank you very much. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, you may press star and 1. Next question is from the line of Damayanti Kerai from HSBC. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, can you split India growth into volume, price, and new launches?
Torrent's India growth as per AIOCD, so volume growth was minus 8.5%, price growth 7.4%, new launches 1.7%. And the IPM breakup is minus 11.8% volume, 4.5% price, and 1.4% new products.
Sorry, new product, how much you said for IPM?
1.4%.
Okay. And sir, my second question is, we have seen that a price increase has been one of the key drivers for our India formulation growth for some quarters now. So how confident you remain about sustaining this 7-8% kind of growth which we are seeing on last few quarters?
This should be able to sustain, and as our new launches keep gaining momentum, the volumes also will keep adding. So right now we're 3% higher volume growth than the IPM.
Yes, volume we should see recovery. I was asking more on the pricing sustainability part.
So the 7.4% number should be sustainable.
And what gives you confidence about that?
Sorry, I lost you there.
No, I'm asking, what gives you confidence about sustaining this 7-8% kind of price increase on a consistent basis?
So the same matter that we review every year, how the competitive scenario is evolving compared to the next 2 or 3 brands, especially in markets where we have leadership positions. That's where a price increase maybe 1 or 2% higher than the competition is sustainable. So that's how.
Okay, and my last question is regarding your debt repayment plan. So can you just update us on that?
So I think this quarter we've repaid around 440 crores, I would say. And for the full year, we are looking at 1,000 crore kind of a number.
Okay, so 1,000 crore what we planned earlier, that remained on track, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your answers.
Thank you very much. Next question is from Nimish Mehta from Research Delta Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking the question. I actually also wanted to understand the outlook on gross margin. We've been hearing that the API input costs have actually risen, and most of the companies in API segment are reporting good pricing for themselves. So is it likely that we might be impacted in our formulation margin, especially at a gross level? Some outlook on that will be helpful.
No, you're absolutely right. So I think there are few APIs where we see substantial price increase. But if you ask me whether it's going to be a significant impact going forward, the answer is no. I would say it's not that significant which will be there as far as the gross margin is concerned. Yes, I mean on an overall basis we are seeing a gross margin impact of between 1 and 1.5%, I would say. But that's taken care basically because of certain price increases which we have taken wherever possible, right, and more in the branded generic space. So if you ask me whether that's going to impact the overall margin, the answer is no.
I see. So, okay. So as I understand, I mean, you just commented on the gross margin to stay between 72 and 73%. And because assuming that the API prices will stay at whatever higher level it is, but it will get compensated by the price increase. Is that a fair understanding?
No, absolutely. And I think most of the price increases which we take, one is the competition-based price increase. We also look at cost-based price increases. So I think it should cover up to that extent.
Okay, great. Understood. The second thing, on the overhead marketing expenses, I mean, we hear, kind of a talk in the industry that the industry is trying to move towards on a more digital marketing platform. And are there any thoughts related to that? And if yes, what do you think, I mean, on a ballpark level, could be the cost structure and the savings that you may envisage?
So from the Indian market perspective, there will be a shift towards digital in the coming quarters and possibly longer. But it's not going to be a substantial part, at least that's what it's looking right now. So more or less cost structure should be similar. Probably in the next quarter, we can provide further information on that.
I see. So you don't envisage significant change in the overall scheme of things that is happening there?
Nothing major, no.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next question is from Pratik Agarwal from ASK Investments. Please go ahead.
Hi. My question is with regards to production-linked incentives that Government of India is now starting to offer. Does Torrent in any manner seek to utilize those incentives?
So I would say we are evaluating the proposal which the government has just brought in, right? So maybe next quarter or maybe after that, we'll update you on that.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next participant is Kunal Mehta from Vallum Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
So thank you for the opportunity. My question is Sanjay sir. Sir, we wanted to understand the situation on sartans at the present. Are you back in the market, and if yes, for how many products?
So we are actually not selling sartans actively in the US. So we are actually prioritizing our FDA clearance, and as such, we've taken, I would say, a management call to go slow on sartans. So I would not expect any material numbers from Torrent on sartans in the near future, at least until our FDA issues are behind us.
So just a follow up on this one. So if just sartans is already an approved product for Torrent, and so all you would have to do is give us your CB30 filing and change the source of API source, and you can relaunch the product. So I just wanted to understand what apprehensions or points are you having in your mind while you are deciding to go slow on sartans. Any perspective would be helpful, sir.
So essentially, we've had this experiences with these nitrosamine impurities, and we built a complete infrastructure to test them. And as a company, we decided that it was better for us to manufacture these products in dedicated lines. And so we just need to reconfigure a bit our production tools so that we can organize these dedicated lines to manufacture sartans. And also, we need to make some changes in our end-to-end supply chain in terms of sourcing of APIs, etc. So we are in the process of making those changes. So by no means, we are abandoning this market. But in the very short run, I would not guide you towards the material revenues here.
Understood, sir. And you would be changing your API suppliers, or the existing suppliers would be able to supply you?
So the situation varies from sartan to sartan, but we are constrained to change a few important API suppliers.
Understood. Thank you very much for your answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question is from Nitin Agarwal from IDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my question, sir. So simply two things. One is on the US. How has the shortage situations been in the US over the last couple of quarters? Have they sort of become more sporadic, or are you seeing more opportunities there to participate in?
So in our experience, there was a little bit of a panic in the March time frame, but currently that panic seems to have subsided, and we are almost in a normal supply situation.
So we're not seeing any incremental opportunities on to participate in shortages.
I think we are not seeing either panic purchases or there are, I would say, one or two here and there where certain suppliers might have difficulty in supply chain connectivity. But on a broader level, the market has no supply issues.
Okay. And on the pricing front, so probably does that mean there are relatively fewer price increase opportunities now, as to sort of take that further?
Yeah, I think we are back to a normal situation where generally in the US, many of you model between 5 to 10% price decreases across a portfolio of products. So I don't see why the trend would be different in the quarters ahead.
And so on the last thing on sartans, since you've been a participant in the past, have you seen any meaningful price hikes in general across the portfolio, or that's not really been the case because of the disruptions that are happening in the market?
I think there are other companies who are more competent than Torrent right now to comment on today's sartan market. So I would refrain because we are not actively participating in this market in an aggressive manner currently. So I would just refrain from commenting on this market situation.
No problem. And secondly, on the emerging markets, we had a very sharp growth this quarter. So anything to sort of how should we look at that? Is it like a sustainable base for the emerging markets, and any particular market which drove it?
No, so I think
you want to see that?
Yeah. So you're right. I mean, I think the rest of the world looks a little higher this quarter. If you ask me whether this kind of growth is sustainable, I think it's better to wait for one more quarter to see, because it will be too early for me to make a comment whether this is less, more, or whatever. But you are right. I mean, compared to the earlier growth levels, it's been higher.
But Sudhir, was there any particular market which drove it, or it was broad-based?
No, it was broad-based, I would say. And I think most of this would have been there because of some additional stocking, because these are African, Southeast Asia markets, right? And the supplies, and these are mostly distributor-driven models which are there in the ROW market, where we've seen a surge happening. So possibly, I mean, this kind of a growth might not continue in the subsequent quarters, but it's better to wait for one more quarter and see.
And last one, on the staff cost, is there an element of some sort of some reduction in staff cost or lower staff cost for the quarter because of this lower lower promotion related activities, or that's entirely reflected only in the other expenses?
Yeah, it's only reflected in the other expenses, Nitin. Nothing in the staff cost.
That is more a sustainable number, a regular number as it's going to come.
I would say so, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Best luck.
Thank you very much. Next question is from the line of Prakash Agarwal from Axis Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the follow-up. Just trying to understand the India business better. I mean, clearly you mentioned June saw a big uptick, and I can see from the AICD data also your major brands, be it Shell, your Dilzem, your Losar, and all have high double-digit growth. So I would say partly could be, stocking again with unlocking, but in July we hear that there's some part of locking again happening. So would you say that, growth is normalizing or is still picking up? Any color you can give for July?
Growth is definitely normalizing now. So obviously April and May was the worst period for the market. June saw quite a good pickup, and July was more or less sustaining except for the lockdowns in containment areas. So I wouldn't say it's going to be a linear recovery, maybe month on month, but over the next 2 quarters, there'll definitely be a recovery. So I think, and especially as the chronic revenue and business would sustain, at the same time, the acute and subchronic would also start picking up.
Okay. And any ballpark guidance on how we can grow? How should we look at this year because of the uncertain events? So what are you looking at in terms of growth?
It's still quite difficult to say that, but I think we should be able to grow a few percentage points above the IPM.
Okay, understood. And secondly, on the the R&D spend, so looking at your annual report, there are some NCE programs that you're running, and how should we think about NDA filing for this year? How many products we are looking at, and would it be a little slower one given that there are FDA issues on the plants as well as there's a some cost optimization or savings on that front also?
So generally last year we filed about 12 ANDAs. So in our objective this year would be in the same ballpark. Let's say between 12 to 14 ANDAs is a reasonable number. The reason why some ANDAs might go slower is not linked so much to the plants, because our R&D engine continues to work normally. It's more linked to the COVID and the impact that has on bioequivalent centers in India and elsewhere. So it's quite challenging to recruit patients for BE studies during when you're having lockdowns and social distancing, and it's hard to recruit patients. So BE centers and vendors who do BE studies have let's say a slower uptake or a slower rate of completion of studies. So that is something that might have an impact. But our current plan is to be in the same range, let's say 12 to 14 ANDAs in the current fiscal year.
And any comment on the NC piece that you've talked about in the annual report? How should we think about for India markets, or what are you exactly doing there?
So the NC would still be at least a few years down the line. So probably at some point later, when there's more developments, we can share.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question is from Abdul from Anand Rathi. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So just one question on the Leviton facility. As guided by you, the facility might be up and running in the third quarter. So at the current juncture, are we confident enough that we would be back to the annual run rate of 12 to 13 million from this facility?
So I would not give you guidance there, and the reason is pretty straightforward. Because before the shutdown, the business model of the company was different, right? It was doing a lot of contract manufacturing for over-the-counter products. And going forward, and it was also doing some DZ products. DZ products are grandfathered products into the FDA system. So going forward, we will not be doing these two activities. On the other hand, this loss of business will be compensated by our own ANDAs, existing and new. So, as a new products get approved, we'll definitely cross this threshold and go beyond. But I will not be able to give you a timing on that.
Sure. And so just one more question. In terms of the filings from the third party side, so how many such filings we have pending with the FDA now? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I was saying it's in the single digits, sir. I don't have an exact number, but it's less than 10 today.
Sure, sir. Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you. Next question is from Girish from Bank of America. Please go ahead.
Yeah, most questions are answered. Just Sanjay, if you could actually just comment on the volumes in the US. I mean, in terms of the total pills, I think I remember last time there was 4.5 billion pill number you had shared. Has the volume materially changed from there for the US market?
For Torrent, we are roughly doing about 100 crore pills a quarter. We continue to do similar volumes. So all in all, on an annualized basis, around 400 crores.
Okay. And on the overall, I mean, from the group perspective, is company doing anything to participate in any of these COVID treatment drugs in near future in India market or abroad?
Aman?
So we are evaluating almost all opportunities, and if there is anything substantial, we would participate.
Okay, but you're saying in near term there is nothing that one should expect in terms of launches, right?
Not as of now, no.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next question is from Neha from JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
My questions have been answered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next participant is Nitin Gosar from Invesco. Please go ahead.
Hi, team. Two questions. One is trying to understand COVID situation or post-COVID world. our company is in position to reassess the way they have been doing marketing and promotion for the product to the doctors? The whole idea is to understand, is there any lever to, digitize the whole process and take it forward from here on? Lesser manpower involved. How do they see the situation from here on?
So digital certainly will be an important part of the whole marketing ecosystem. It's not going to substitute actual clinic visits by any means in the near future. So as and when the adoption at the practitioner level increases, that's probably how the spend will also increase in that direction of more visibility. But as of now, it doesn't seem to be taking any major, it's not looking to displace the existing marketing activities. So as I mentioned earlier, the marketing spend overall, the structure should be pretty much similar, except there will be some additional aspect of digital spend this year.
Got it. One final question is with regard to currency. Do you think currency would have played a kind of its part in terms of gross margin expansion for the quarter?
Yeah, I think to a certain extent, I would. Not very significant because on the Brazil side, the currency has depreciated almost by 20%. So I think on a net basis, nothing significant in terms of improvement in gross margins contributed by currency depreciation.
Okay, got it. But on face of it, US and other emerging market would have benefited, and Brazil would have pulled it down.
To a certain extent, but if you ask me, as far as the bottom line is concerned, we've booked around 15 crores of forex losses in other expenses.
Mm-hmm.
That gain is taken because of that.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. This was helpful.
Thank you very much. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, you may press star and one. Next question is from the line of Deepak Mehta, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my question, but my question has already been asked. So I will ask in other geography international. So how we are looking in the emerging markets such as Latin Africa, what is the penetration of Torrent Pharma? That is my only question. Thank you.
Sanjay, you want to answer about LATAM?
Sure. So currently in LATAM, we have direct presence in two major markets, which is Brazil and Mexico. The third most important market is Argentina, but we have no plans to enter into the Argentinian market. We are evaluating a series of 4 markets where we have licensing deals with existing local companies. And we are actively considering whether we should consider switching this B2B business to a direct presence business. So that evaluation is ongoing inside Torrent, and we will probably provide more information as plans concretize. So that is as far as LATAM is concerned. So we have Brazil, Mexico, no plans for Argentina, and some B2B business in other markets currently.
Yeah. And I think in terms of other emerging markets, when you specifically talked about Africa, so I think including Africa, Southeast Asia, maybe Middle East to a certain extent. So we have this pipeline which is there for the next 3 to 5 years. So you'll see good amount of expansion happening in these markets through launches of new products. So that will continue.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Have a great rest of the year.
Thank you very much. Next participant is Nikhil Mathur from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks a lot. 2 questions from my side. The first is on the MR strength. If not for COVID, would Torrent have looked to add incremental MRs in FY21? And if not, then what is the sales pace then which you achieve, and after which you'll be forced to add new MRs to run the business?
There were no plans to add MRs even pre-COVID. And usually, whenever every few years there would be an increase in the doctor universe, that's when we would look at expanding our coverage. So that probably wouldn't be a significant amount. Compared to the 4,000 strength, it would be a small number.
So is it more of an event possibly in FY22? At some point in time, this might happen then?
Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out.
Okay. And secondly, my second question is on the API side. Does Torrent aim to invest into developing API capabilities over the next 2-3 years? And the reason I ask this question is that for the export markets, there is usually a lot of talk about pricing pressure. Even Trump is talking about lowering prices in the US. And typically companies which are more backward integrated or have more control on their value chain intend to be more intend to enjoy more cost leadership. So any plans to invest on the API capacity building over the next 2-3 years and be a bit more backward integrated?
No, I would say currently, so we have API capacities, right, in 3 places, Dahej, Indrad and Vizag. So if you ask me whether the capacities have been utilized to the fullest, the answer is no. Internally, we have a plan to increase the capacity utilization of these API facilities which we have over the next 3 years, I would say. So at least for the next 2-3 years, there's no new investment which we are looking at in terms of increasing our API capacities.
Okay. Can you just help me out with when were these capacity additions done and what was the capital deployed in these capacity additions on the API side?
Yeah, I won't remember the capital deployed number, but I think Indrad, Dahej put together, I think we are looking at a 90 metric ton kind of a capacity, and Vizag could be roughly around 35 metric ton. So all in all, 125 metric ton capacity existing today, with scope for expansion within the existing facilities. So we don't have to look for a new land and put up API facility. Both at Vizag as well as Dahej, we have sufficient space for expansion.
Okay, sure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Next question is from Kartik Mehta from Clay Capital Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the opportunity. I just have one question. So looking at the average in the balance sheet now. Hello?
Yeah, Kartik, go on.
Yeah. Is there a possibility that you guys enter into manufacturing, go backwards into some API business for the US? Something which is being done by a lot of newer companies, or would you stick to this? And for that, would you allocate capital to acquire, or will it be, if at all?
So, Kartik, Kartik, I would say that's not one of our priority. Because unless US business really grows up and we have more product portfolios in our basket as far as US is concerned, I think this would not be a priority for us. So it's only, we'll stick to our original plan of making more complex driven API in-house and depend upon the market partners for high volume API.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question is from the line of Cyndrella Carvalho from Centrum Broking Limited. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my question. I just wanted to understand, as we are talking about Germany resuming growth from second half, we are hopeful that India will also resume in the coming 2 quarters or so. So if we have to look at over 2 to 3 years perspective, how should one be looking at in terms of overall growth? Any indication, any direction that you could help us with?
Okay, I'll take that question. Sanjay, you can second whatever I say if I miss out something.
Okay.
So I think the way to look at for the next 3 years is US will be quite positive, because I think the only problem which we have today is the negative outcome of this US FDA inspection, right? So all the new products are on hold. However, we've continued filing double-digit ANDAs every year. So the expectation is that once this plant is getting cleared, both the plants are getting cleared and the liquid facility also come on stream, we should see a good amount of growth happening as far as the US market is concerned, because we should be launching at least 12 to 15 products year on year. So that's the expectation and goal. So I would say, so that should do well, is what our objective and expectation is. Germany, I think historically we have been doing double digit, is what Sanjay had spoken earlier, and there is no reason why we should not think about it for the next 3 years as well. Because in spite of the 80% of the market being generic, we are there only for 50% of it, right? So there's big amount of expansion which can really happen, and there's also focus which we are giving as far as our OTC space is concerned, and therefore the goal is to take it up from 10% today to a little higher. So I think Germany should also be doing well. That's what we believe. As far as the branded generic markets is concerned, which is India and Brazil, I would say two things will happen. So one is, I think the new product introductions in both the places will see a higher share in the overall growth for them over the next 3 years. And the rest of the growth will be in line with what the market is delivering. So if the market is delivering, let's say 7 to 8%, we should be at least 100 to 200 basis points more than that. So that's the way we look at it.
That's helpful. And if you could help me understand how much of our portfolio will be backward integrated, and if that is a parameter that we consider at this point in time.
So I think on an overall basis, I mean, it's mostly for the US, I would say. So I think around 35 to 40% of vertical integration we have today.
And the intent to do Losartan backward integrated, is that a correct understanding that I have from our call?
Yeah, Losartan is not vertically integrated. We're dependent on the outsourced API.
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you. Next question is from Prakash Agrawal from Axis Capital Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the follow-up again. Just a question for Aman on the new launches that we did around December. So how has been the offtake for Vildagliptin and Ticagrelor?
So compared to Q4, in Q1 we've gained market share in all the new launches. Vildagliptin total market share from 4.3% in Q4 is now up to 5%. Ticagrelor market share is up from 3.9% to 4.2%. And the Remo market share is up from 13.1 to 14.3%. So even month on month there is an increase in volumes.
Okay, that is very helpful. And in terms of new launches for the year, are we planning something or, in terms of something different? Yeah.
We already had 2 launches this quarter. One was in the gastro space and one was in the onco space. Rest of the year we're looking at maybe 9 to 10 launches.
Okay, perfect. And for Brazil market, like you mentioned, the portfolio is largely catering to the chronic. And in the past, we have said 1 to 2 new launches every year. So how is it looking for this year and next year? Hello?
Hey, Sanjay, you're there?
So one moment, his line dropped. I'm calling him back. Please stay connected. Great. Mr. Gupta, you're connected back.
Come back. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, should I repeat?
Yes, sir. May I request you to repeat the question, please?
Yeah. Okay. No, so Sanjay, my question was on Brazil. So in the past, we have talked about 1 to 2 launches every year, and already you mentioned it's largely chronic, so we'll continue to outperform. So how's the pipeline looking for this year and next year for Brazil market?
I think in my opening remarks, I mentioned that we are planning to launch 3 products this year. And just to give you a background on this, last year, 1920, we filed 3 products in Brazil. In 2021, we are also planning to file 3 to 4 products in Brazil. So since, branded generic markets require a lot of investment in product launches and brand building, we feel that is an adequate number. So, 3 to 4 launches and new brands introduced and to be built in Brazil would give us good momentum. That is where we are directionally headed.
Okay. And would it be fair to say that next year also around 2, 3, 4 products could be there in terms of launches? That's how you plan to build the pipeline?
Yeah. So the plan is, let's say, every year, between 0 and 5, like say 2, 3 products every year we would launch from our own pipeline. And then if opportunities present, we are also in licensing activity projects for Brazil for both our branded generics and generics business. So that will be on top of that.
Okay. And is there a ballpark number that we try to get or something in mind that, per product, revenues per product?
So generally, we essentially go after products where we expect the competitive intensity to be less and where we think we have strengths. So areas where we are present is CNS, cardio, and diabetes. So our objective is to increase our coverage in these 3 therapeutic areas. Current coverage is about 23-24%. So we are adding products with the objective of increasing our coverage of these therapeutic areas and products where the competitive intensity is less or is likely to be less and where we think we can build I would say at least 15-20% market shares. And generally the markets we target are, I would say, between 70 to 200 million reais each. So that is the kind of broad brushstroke of the markets we target.
Okay. You said 15 to 20% market share is what you target for each of your branded.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That was very helpful. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraint, that will be the last question for today. I will now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that we've answered your questions. If you have further queries, please feel free to contact our Investor Relations Officer, Sapan. Thank you and good night.